Buddha's teachings is like a great ship for us to cross over the ocean. So Buddha's teachings will show you the things that you have not seen in life before. The moment you develop a wholesome thought like that, following a great teacher who had utmost compassion, it is not a simple thing. It's like making a ship for you to cross over an ocean and to remain without sinking. The understanding that we have about life is not perfect. When scientists focus their attention towards the human being's brain, Buddha saw things through his eye of wisdom. When a person does not know the Buddha's teachings, it's like walking in darkness. Fulfilling desires, like when someone is angry, like throw things away, shout, and fulfilling anger by becoming slaves of desires. You reap what you sow. Why not we dedicate our life wholeheartedly to purify this mind? While we are subjected to old age and death, we seek things that are also subjected to decaying and perishing. Is it worth? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. First of all, before we go for the Dhamma sermon, let's go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha and observe the 5 precepts. So we don't go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha just because we are Buddhists. We do that because the only protection that will never decay, the only protection that will never fade away, the only protection that will not cheat us. Banks can cheat us. They can use our money. Insurance companies, they can waste our money. They can bankrupt. But the refuge that comes from the Buddha, the protection that comes from the Buddha will not decay or will not be stolen by others. And that protection is something that remains with happiness. Together with that protection, fear or sorrow does not come. Like even if you deposit money in a bank, or even if you do an investment, you always have that fear that will I lose this? Will I lose this? Will someone take over this? Will I have to sell these things? Will someone else claim to be their belongings, and will others fight for these properties and for this wealth? So whatever the things that we achieve materially, together with some happiness through those material things, fear, sorrow, then hate, and craving, and dissatisfaction, and also attachments. So together with all those things, like you get to experience these, you get to experience this little happiness together with those miserable things. But the protection you get by going for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha and by following the 5 precepts, it's like a ship sailing on water. So now the nature of a ship is you can put heavy things. You can put very heavy items, containers. You can put heavy loads on a ship. You can carry heavy items on a ship. But if you try to keep these heavy things just on water, on the surface of water, what will happen? It will sink, right? If you try to keep some stones, maybe a small stone on water, will it float? No, it will sink. But when you try to keep something on a ship, what happens? It will not sink. Since the ship has the ability to float and to bear that weight, the ship will carry that weight to the place you need to carry it. So, Buddha's teachings is like a great ship for us to cross over the ocean. Buddha's teachings is something that will not sink. So, therefore, that's why we take refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, not just for the sake of reciting words. So let's all of us get together and venerate the Buddha 3 times and go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha and observe the 5 precepts before we go for the sermon. And we do all these things to invoke blessings for us. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. To observe the 5 precepts, say after me. I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. I observe the precept of abstaining from stealing. I observe the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct. I observe the precept of abstaining from telling lies. I observe the precept of abstaining from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs with the refuge of the Noble Triple Gem. I observe these precepts for happiness in this life, for rebirth in heaven, and to realize the Four Noble Truths. In this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So what we did just now was taking refuge, like going for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Buddhang Saranang Gacchami means I go for refuge to the Supreme Buddha. When you say that physically, you don't see anything happening. Like when you abstain from killing living beings, when you determine, you can like physically abstain from killing living beings. But when you say Buddhaṃ Saranam Gacchāmi, you might be wondering, why do we say Buddhaṃ Saranam Gacchāmi? Like, do we have to utter these words? Well, at the beginning of the Buddha Sasana, the monkhood, the monk life was obtained just by saying Buddhaṃ Saranam Gacchāmi, Dhammaṃ Saranam Gacchāmi, and Sanghaṃ Saranam Gacchāmi. By going for refuge to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, they received ordination. That much powerful. So it's like you are accepting the Buddha. You are accepting the Buddha's teachings. You are accepting the Sangha. So that means like the moment you delight and the moment you accept a Buddha and the Buddha's teachings, from that moment onwards, you will start gaining merit, like gaining good luck, good blessings, and good fortune to your life. A good karma, the word karma, some of you all might not be familiar. So karma is the best word, but like through like good fortune comes through a good karma. Good luck or happiness comes through a good karma. So another name for merit, another name for pina is happiness. Another name for happiness is also, another name for happiness is pina, merit. So just think like this. There was a king ruling this world in the past. He had the psychic powers to visit divine worlds. So he wanted to rule the Tavatimsa divine world. And he requested from God Sakka to rule half of the Tavatimsa divine world. Then the God Sakka accepted it. He gave permission to rule half of the divine world. Then after some time, this king thought, if I could kill God Sakka, I would be able to rule the entire divine world, not half. Can you imagine what would have happened after thinking like that? Just by that thought, just thinking like that, what would have happened next? The moment he thought like that, he descended to the human world. All the psychic powers that he had was destroyed, eliminated, abandoned, faded away, was removed from his spiritual powers. What happened? He descended to the land, to the human world. The chance that he had to rule the half of the Tavatimsa divine world, even that was taken away by his own unwholesome thoughts. He lost that opportunity just because of an unwholesome thought. There was no any action. He did not kill the God Sakka. He did not even try to kill. He just thought of killing. So just by a thought, if a person can descend from a divine world to a human world, the ones who are living in the human world, when they think of killing and harming others, so the lower world that they have to go from human world, the next world is what? The animal world. You can see animals, ghost world, then hell. So the reason I taught this story is just like a king who had the chance to rule a divine world, and by developing harmful thoughts, if he descended to the human world, imagine if you think a thought like, I'm accepting a Buddha, I'm going for refuge to a Buddha, I'm following what Buddha has said, I'm following the community of the Sangha. The moment you develop a wholesome thought like that, following a great teacher who had utmost compassion, who was perfect in wisdom, who was perfect in qualities. The moment you follow a person, the moment you think of following that life, what will come to your life? Blessings, good merit, good karma will flow to your life like a great river flowing, like a great river of merit flowing to your life. So, I hope that is clear for you all, that the reason we go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha, it is not a simple thing. It's like making a ship for you to cross over ocean and to remain without sinking. Dear Dhamma friends, now the person that we want to share blessings have passed away. He has passed away. Now what we could give him is only blessings. Nothing can be given physically. So it's the same like when we are living in the human world. Whatever we receive physically is only for this life. Unless we transform it to a merit, it will only be with us for some time, and we will have to give up things. So when you gain things, you are happy, you are joyful, you feel very happy. But gaining things, and when you gain things, one more thing happens. Conceit increases, we become proud, then we don't listen to others, right? We don't respect people. Some people, they don't respect others when they are financially well, and when they are financially strong, they don't respect others. So those are the drawbacks that comes together with gains. But if you know that gains are impermanent, you won't become proud. You will use the gains for the purpose of using gains, and then you will spend it, and you won't become proud. You will be the same person. And even after losing money, you will be the same person. So when it comes to losing money, what happens? That's where human beings can't bear it. Losing life, losing friends, losing relatives, losing possessions, losing jobs. Why people are unable to bear it? Why people fight and struggle and quarrel for their rights? They think it's their right to always have the things they want in life. Well, you can say those things as right, but how long these rights can be under your control? There is always a limitation for our rights, which people don't remember always, and which people have forgotten it. While having a life that is impermanent, and while meddling with things that are impermanent, we expect things to be fair and right and perfect. Is it possible? It's not possible. We always try to have things, to keep things fair and to be things right and perfect. That's because the understanding that we have about life is not perfect. The understanding that we have about life and about the world and about this journey of life, it's not a perfect understanding. We have not fully understood about life. But a Buddha has fully understood about life. He has understood about life very well, perfectly, and without missing anything. He has fully understood about life. He understood about the mind. When scientists focus their attention towards the human being's brain, Buddha focused more on the human being's mind. Mind is not visible. Mind is something that cannot be seen through microscopes. So you can see those small particles. We remember when you were schooling for biology, we used to take small pieces from out inside, and then we used to keep it and then check the microbes, I think. I can't remember. So we would see the living microbes. So this world that human beings see, they see things from their naked eye. Buddha saw things through his eye of wisdom, with a clear comprehension about life. So just imagine when there's a power failure, when there's a power cut. Imagine right now it's 8 p.m. If there's a power cut, then we would look for a candle. We would look for an emergency lamp. Then how would we walk? How would we walk? Would we walk in the same speed just as we walk when there's light? No. Like we will touch here and there. We will knock on walls. We will knock on tables, on chairs, and slowly we'll walk, right? Some will fall down. So when a person does not know the Buddha's teachings, it's like walking in darkness. But when a person knows the Buddha's teachings, it's like really walking in light. Like you know how to walk, you know where to stop, you know where to turn. You know the places to visit and you know the places you should not visit. It's like this, dear Dhamma friends. Imagine there's a blind person. There's a blind person. And then people offer him some rags, some old rags. And then they say, you are wearing a beautiful cloth. You're wearing a beautiful cloth. It's so beautiful, expensive. So the person who is blind, he is thinking that he is wearing the best shirt or the best trouser. And he's been given the best clothes. And he's so happy. And he's living in that world thinking that he's wearing the best dress. So what happens? A doctor will give medicine and will cure that person. And after curing that person's eye, he will be able to see this world. When he sees the world with his own eyes, then he sees his own clothes wearing old rags, wearing junk clothes, junk items. Then only he understands that I was deceived. Some people, until they die, they don't understand. Like even after they die without understanding about the reality of life. Now, anger is something to be abandoned before we die. If not, just like we were born with anger, we will be born again. We will be born again with anger. Lust is something to be abandoned before we die. Because of lust, and husband can't stick to the wife can't stick to the husband, like problems at the workplace, relationships, like there's no control in the mind. So, no control in relationships. So why is that there's no contentment? Why? Fulfilling desires, like when someone is angry, like throw things away, shout, and fulfilling anger by becoming slaves of desires. They think they have done a great job after getting angry and scolding others and fighting. That's because they don't know that they have increased anger. They have increased anger. But opposite of anger is loving kindness. When you practice loving kindness, you may have hardships, like physically you may have problems, but mentally you are fine. Like after the fights are over, the other person who got angry at you might regret. You might have physical pains by tolerating, but you have nothing to regret because you practice loving kindness. Just because another person got angry at you, you can feel happy thinking later that I did not make anyone angry. And I did not get angry at anyone. By practicing a quality like that, you can reduce your anger. You can live without regretting. So jealousy is something in the mind that was seen by the Buddha. Then selfish. Then conceit. And then greediness is something in the mind. Should be abandoned. So greediness should be abandoned by giving. Only when you start giving, you'll realize like how greedy we are. Only by giving we get. Now you can see there's a variation in this world, right? Some are rich, some are poor, some are wise, some are fools, some are beautiful, some are ugly. So some are very influential, some are not influential. All these things are depending on what we have done in the past lives. If we put paddy, what would we get? We get rice. Okay. If you plant coconut, will we get paddy? Will we get rice? No. If you plant a coconut tree, we get coconut. If you plant a sugar cane tree, what will you get? What would you get? Will you get neem? No. It's sweet. So from green grams, what do you get? You get green grams. So you reap what you sow. Whatever you do, you are the one who will experience that in the present, in the future, and until you attain Nibbana. When it comes to results, it's not just in this life. Buddha said beings are depending on karma in three ways. In this life, in next life, and lives that you will have to go, you will experience, you are born, until you stop this journey of being born and dead again and again, until you attain Nibbana. The word Nibbana, we will only hear after a Buddha appears in this world. Nibbana is being free from lust, anger and delusion one day. Once lust, anger and delusion is totally abandoned, the nature of getting angry and committing sins, committing bad actions, and having the hopes of conquering the world by with unwholesome actions, that nature will get abandoned by purifying the mind. So these things can only be done when a Buddhist appeared. Most of the time in this world, like there are human beings always in this world. There's a time period that there's no living being remains. That's the time period where the world is created, and after the world is destroyed, the beings are born in a world called Abhasara, divine world. So beings depend on their own light. So the nature is, the truth is, what we understand as human beings is like building a house, buying a car, getting married and struggling with the marriage life. And then like while we are subjected to old age and death, and while we are subjected to sickness and diseases, we seek things that are also subjected to decaying and perishing. Is it worth within this short period of 60 years, 70 years? So we can't give up these things. Yes, not everyone can become monks. So as lay people, we should understand that we are living in this human world, we are using these things, we are eating, we are consuming, and then we have to dress this body, and we have to use this body, you have to decorate this body, you have to build houses, you have to look after your parents, you have to look after your children, you have to earn money. But that should be done like this, like a lotus leaf that is untouched by water, like wind blowing through a grill. So that means you are unattached, like your life is like a strong pillar that is grounded in the earth. Imagine there's a pillar that is 10 feet height, and 5 feet you dig the ground and you fix that pole. You make sure that 5 feet of the pole is grounded, is under the earth, and 5 feet is above the earth. So the pillar is very strong, while half of the pole is grounded, is on earth. So, and that pillar is unshaken. And our life should be like a mountain that is unshaken by four winds, by the wind. So to have a mind like that, it's very difficult. But if you know the reality of life, because Buddha understood that the nature of the mind, the nature of the body, like this body is made with, like how this body is made, and the nature of the mind, and like if you can watch your mind and have a gatekeeper for your mind, if you can have a gatekeeper for your mind to watch the thoughts and then abandon bad thoughts and develop good thoughts, like not let fearful thoughts and regretful thoughts to like generate and like conquer your mind, and then like have disasters. So if you can watch your mind and live through the Buddha's teachings, so Buddha's teachings will show you the things that you have not seen in life before, will reveal the things that you have not seen in life before. So what we have understood about life is very little. We like, for the sake of happiness, like what we know is like dancing, singing, eating, meeting friends, and by showing off, dressing very well. And then just because of those things, again, we suffer when we lose them, right? Don't we? And complaining, and then like we work hard to earn money, and then to protect that money, we struggle, right? We to protect it from thieves, from robbers, and from your relatives. It's not easy. So rather than dedicating our whole life for the things that are decaying one day, why not we dedicate our life wholeheartedly to purify this mind and make sure that we don't come to this fearful world again and again? To purify your mind, at least to control this endless journey of being born and dead, at least to maximum of 7 births. So that's the greatest achievement a human being can achieve. Any living being on this earth following any religion can overcome anger, lust and delusion. By thinking in a wise way. Knowing that there are results of bad karma. Knowing that there's a life after death. And there's a beautiful Dhamma advice given by the Supreme Buddha. Buddha taught us, always try to put yourself in another's place. Would I like if someone cheat me? Would I like if someone scold me? Would I like if someone hurt me? In the same way, think, just as I don't like when I am harmed and when I am cheated, other beings do not like when they are cheated and when they are harmed. When you think like that, all the problems will be solved. And also, like when it comes to lustful thoughts, like our desires are endless. Like you see one person, you need that person. After a few days, you see another person, you need that person also. But all these human beings have what? A body that is sweating, a body that is deteriorating, a body that sweats, a body that is built with muscles, phlegm, pus, and this body that we have got, this muscle skin, day by day it's getting old, and we are liking something that is decaying day by day, and we are liking something that will not remain in the same way. And then what happens when we don't understand the reality? You go look for things that the way you want, and then when you try to satisfy your desires the way you want by finding new people every day, you're causing so much troubles to the world. Children, like when a father leaves a mother and go to another wife or to another woman, the children, what happens to the children, to that woman? So rather than becoming slaves of these desires, if we can control them, and if we can have loving kindness and compassion towards everyone in this world, just like a mother has towards her one and only child, we can win this life. Then if you die, even at the age of 30 years or 40 years or 50 years, there's nothing to regret, because you have done what a human being should exactly do once he or she is born as a human being. So that's the Dhamma advice for you all, for everyone who's listening for this Dhamma sermon. And you all are blessed to listen to these teachings taught by Supreme Buddha. Even after 2,600 years, you're hearing these amazing teachings. And before I conclude the program, there's a beautiful Dhammapada stanza I'll read for you. One is not wise only because one speaks a lot. If one does not cause fear in others, is devoid of hate, and is fearless, one can truly be called a wise person. Now you can imagine who a foolish person is, right? I wish you all the best. May you have a good hope, a great hope, to be free from lust, anger, and delusion, to be generous, and act for the welfare of many beings. Use this human life to do wholesome deeds as much as possible, and to accumulate something for this life, and to attain Nibbana, and to be born in higher worlds, not back in this human world that is corrupted. Until we attain Nibbana, may we be born among Devas, and may we realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.